Alright guys, here we go, another installment for the KKV1, aka my big blue. What I'm going to be doing in this video is basically changing something that's working perfectly. I kind of chasing grams here. So this truck has a perfect 50-50 left to right, 50-50 cross weight, 60-40 front to rear. A very well balanced truck. And I put overdrive gears in the front axle. So the Meus LCG transmission comes with 18% overdrive, and I added 20%. So we're at 38% overdrive for the truck. And truthfully, I think it's a little bit too much, so I think I want to go back down to 20%, and how I'm going to do that is basically the DLUX Fab portal transmission knockoff, Amazon Chinese knockoff by CobraCrawler. It is basically an exact replica of their lightweight portal transmission, and this thing is very finely machined. It was cheap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dissect this transmission, make sure it's all good, grease it up, put it back together, and I have some options. I have to get the motor out, mount it to this. I gotta see if this was 48 pitch or 32. I can't remember. So I've got some pinion gears to choose from OGRC on Amazon, 48 pitch, different tooth options. I'm thinking of a 13 tooth to slow this thing down a little bit, because right now the way it sits with the Fusion Pro 2300 kV on 3S with this transmission and this gear setup, it's a little spicy. It's got a lot of pep. So I kind of want to slow that down a bit to get a little bit of low end control going on. And I do believe that the 38% overdrive helped me in some areas, but I think it wasn't helping me in other areas. I think it was a little bit too much. So I'm going to try and find the sweet spot. And again, I'm going to also lower the center of gravity by definitely cutting some weight. I'm going to see how much the Meus weighs just by itself, and then what we're doing here when I get this all apart. And I'm either going to run the Meus aluminum skid that comes with the Meus LCG transmission, which would be a lot easier than going this route. This is like my blank skid that I sell on Etsy, but I kind of want to redo this in CAD if I need to go this direction. For this portal transmission, I think I need to make this a little thicker this way and a little bit longer, because instead of just having the holes with no threads and so basically it biting into plastic, I would do the brass threaded inserts into the holes. So I would need to do a little bit of a redesign on a skid, reprint it. And if I have to go this route, which is definitely the more time-consuming route, because I'd have to design something up in CAD, and I'm not going to print it at a PLA, I'm going to print it at a PETG carbon fiber. So the good thing is, if I do get rid of the aluminum skid and I'm going to a lighter weight transmission and I do PETG carbon fiber, it is going to be lowering the weight that's, sprung weight, right? So we'll see where we end up. I'm going to cut the camera off here in a second, and I'm just going to start taking stuff apart and basically seeing how this all goes. It's going to be a little bit of a process. My link geometry should stay exactly the same even if I change the skid, because the mounting holes for the lower links is going to remain the same. Nothing's changing there. So Hopefully next time you see this, I'll probably be doing some weight comparison between the Meus LCG and the DLUX Fab portal transmission knockoff by CobraCrawler. Again, pretty high quality. So I know I should have supported the Deluxe brand, but I couldn't quite afford it. So this is the route we're going. Actually, you know what? Next time I turn on the camera, I might have this dissected on some parts on the bench, and we'll see what's inside this thing. Alright guys, I'm already a fan. What a simple transmission design. It uses little flange bearings. There was very little to no grease in here, just a heads up if somebody does buy this. What I noticed immediately is this is such a precise little transmission. There was absolutely no shims to any of it. So the way it's built is perfect, and it feels really smooth when you're moving it. Again, very little to no grease. I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to grease the crap out of this thing. And what I'm using is some mobile SHC Mobilith PM460. It's the off-white color, okay, lithium complex, and this is, it's kind of like a waterproof grade synthetic grease. So that stuff is really good for these type of applications, especially if you decide you're going to start running this thing in some water. I believe my electronics are not waterproof, but they're definitely water resistant. I think the Fusion Pro is waterproof. I think the Radio Link receiver is water resistant. I don't think it's waterproof. And then I'm pretty sure the Reef's Raw 500s, I want to say that's waterproof, but I can't remember what the website says. So with that being said, if you decide you're going to submerge this a little bit in some water, if you're ever doing some trailing, or heck, if you're in a comp that just has some water, that's why I'm running this synthetic lithium based grease. It's pretty high grade stuff, and I have a lifetime's worth here. So anyway, I'm going to reassemble this, grease the crap out of it, and then at that point, and you know what, I'm actually going to Loctite just the hardware going together, so that way it doesn't come apart on me. And once this thing's married, it's pretty much going to be, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the transmission that I stay with. There was nothing wrong with the Meus LCG transmission that I decided to run on this. I just kind of wanted to try something different. I just wanted to see if I could figure out something to make Big Blue just a little bit better. As Crawler Canyon says, I believe Big Blue's at the 95%, and I'm chasing that last 5% just to see if I can improve anything. Overall, the truck's pretty damn perfect the way it is, so we'll see if we make anything better. I doubt we're going to make anything worse. Truthfully, I really do. If anything, going back down in overdrive and lowering the center of gravity is just going to improve things. So let's get at it. I'm going to put this back together, and I'm going to start taking apart this truck, and I'm going to compare the transmission weight. Alright guys, so we've done it. Big Blue is apart, and it is a 32 pitch internal gears on the Meus LCG. I got the scales already here teared up, and we're going to compare. There is the lightweight portal trans greased up and Loctited and all ready to go, and this is the Meus trans as it is. Now, the Meus trans is not as simple as this transmission over here to the left. They are a little different in the sense that you know, the Meus has built-in overdrive at 18%. That's pretty cool, but the weight savings is pretty clear. We are at 101 grams to the right and 35.8 grams to the left. So, you know, 65 grams saving. That's a, you know, sprung weight, a little bit high on the chassis. And what I like about the two different transmissions too, although the Meus is very compact for what it is, again, an overdrive transmission, pretty cool. This other transmission is just so much more compact, so hopefully it will be easier to get it mounted up with some clearancing. And one thing that I do notice is the motor already sat really low and was close to the links and was kind of grinding a little bit on the rocks as I was going, and as you could see, the mounting point is lower on this transmission than it is over here. So I'm gonna see if I can run the Meus skid, because that is a lot easier. But what I might do is I might 3D print a spacer for the bottom, and it came with a spacer in the kit that's meant for like your typical axial transmission mounting points. So it's like an adapter plate, but I don't really need that. I'm pretty sure I could just use the 28 millimeter spacing on the bottom of the portal trans. I just think I need like a 5 or 6, you know, 8 millimeter spacer that I could 3D print, so that way the motor's not going to be coming into contact with rocks, and the first thing that'll be coming into contact with rocks is the links. So with that being said, I'm going to mount the motor to the transmission and get that situated. I'm pretty sure with the 13 tooth pinion gear, if it will work. To be determined if I'll have enough adjustability and I can get the gear mesh right. Here's my 13 tooth. Yeah, focusing failed, whatever. We'll see what I could do here. So when I get the motor mounted to the transmission, I'm probably going to be playing around to see if this Meus skid can work. One thing with the Meus skid is the holes on the bottom of the transmission are not lined up perfectly. I don't know if you could see that they're offset. That may work to my advantage here a little bit, because it may kick the motor just a smidge this way, and it actually would line up the input shafts or output shafts better with the front and the rear differential. So yeah, I think this is actually going to all work out, and I'm probably not going to have to create my own skid to go with this, which would just be sweet. That would just be nice and easy and straightforward. So to the next clip, we'll see how far I get. Alright guys, where I'm at, motor and trans are mounted. But if you could see this, and it might be hard to catch on camera, but I'm definitely going to have to make some sort of spacer plate to space this ever so slightly, because it does come into contact with the links for one, and then for two, the motor sticks past this surface anyway. So the Fusion Pro casing is a bit too large for this, but anyway, it actually is perfect. I ended up using a 14 tooth pinion gear because for some reason the 13 tooth wouldn't mesh perfectly and smoothly, and the 14 tooth that I had just, it must be a better material or something. I think it's like a Robinson's Racing one, hardened steel. So that's the pinion gear we're going to be running. I think I just got to get on the computer now and take some measurements of this and come up with an adapter plate. 3D print it. I'm just going to print it out of PLA, because that's what I have already on the printer, and it's just an adapter plate. It doesn't have to be high strength or anything like that. So I'm talking a little quiet too. If it sounds like I'm being a little quiet, my wife's taking a nap right now. She doesn't feel too good. She has a headache, so I'm trying to be some sort of courteousness to her. And yeah, so if it sounds a little quiet and like I'm whispering, that's the reason why. So yes, and then if I didn't already say, I am going to be running the Meus skid, because it will work out perfect with this. The placement, it's just going to work out perfect. So I'm kind of excited that I don't have to go through all of that, changing the skid and designing something new. So this should be fairly quick, guys. We should have this thing together and doing some bench testing, and then eventually we'll do a field test down at Brackett Airport with this thing and see if I notice anything different, see if it's better balanced, see if it seems like it's acting like it has lower center of gravity. Who knows? But overall, nice transmission. Truthfully, I can imagine the deluxe one's just that much better. I bet it's really, really nice. So yeah, let me get to designing in CAD, and before you know it, we'll have this truck back together. Guys, I've kind of said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you're truly serious about this hobby and you want to be able to do things that normally wouldn't be able to be done unless you start ordering special parts or whatever, if you want to get into this hobby and be serious about it, you need a laptop. You need some sort of CAD software. There's so many videos online, you could teach yourself anything. And you need to buy yourself just a cheap 3D printer, like even one of the flash forged. If you see the lights pulsating, by the way, it's because the printer's on and it's running right now. It's almost done, but it makes my LED light bar, my desk bar, kind of flash. It's obviously fighting for energy. So again, having a 3D printer makes you be able to do simple things so fast. For example, I needed an adapter plate. I created an adapter plate in CAD there you go, we're done. Turn on the light. What do we got here? An adapter plate, printed, ready to go. So that way I can have a spacer and get it mounted into here. If I didn't have the 3D printer, I would have to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get some raw material and then hand make something, or buy an adapter plate online maybe. And even that's kind of, you're fishing for something online that you may not even find. So I'm just going to be an advocate for 3D printing. Is it the answer to everything? No. But what it will do is make you better in this hobby, because it's going to make you be able to make unique things if you're willing to have, time that you could put into learning. So if you're patient with learning, you could do so much with it. So with that being said, I'm going to get this adapter plate off the build plate. It's very, very, very simple. You go like this, and you kind of flex the plate out. It's stuck on there pretty good. Oh, goodness gracious. It's fighting me a little. I'll get that off in a second. I'm gonna get something to rub it. Ooh, interesting. Okay, there it goes. So here's my little adapter plate. Okay. And essentially it's gonna go right there. See that? Everything lines up perfectly. Yep, there you go. Just to get me that little bit of height. That's gonna be perfect, honestly. I did 6 millimeters thick on the adapter plate. It was 28 millimeters hole to hole, 15 millimeters wide, and it was 33 millimeters long. So again, 3D printing for the win. I'm going to be able to use what I want on here without having to do anything funky. So let me get to bolting some stuff together and tidying this up, and you guys are going to see a complete trunk in a few minutes. Or, well, for you it's half a second. For me it's going to be a few minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a battery in the front, the battery I want to run, and then we're going to get some weight bias and see. I'll compare my old screenshot of where the weight used to be on this truck versus the new weight and see if anything changed much. So bear with me. Alright everybody, truck is back together. Wires are tidied up. I got a battery in it, not plugged in, but it will be plugged in a second. First things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the weight and see if anything has changed. Yeah, the scales look like they're pretty much even. Got the scales tared and already connected. So where are we at on the weight? Let me see if I can get this on here nice and even. If not, I'll move it around. Okay, yeah. Yes. See, with this, you really gotta get the scales centered to the truck rim. I am not mad about what just happened. For one, oops, sorry about the little bump. We definitely cut just a little bit of weight. We're still at perfect 50-50 left to right, and it's within grams. And same thing with the cross weight, 1621, 1643, and now we have a 61%, 39% forward weight bias, gained 1%. And I believe we were at like 3,313 grams ish, which makes sense. What did I say? We lost 65 grams, plus I added that little adapter plate that I did not weigh. I'm assuming that added 10 grams, give or take. So we shed a little. Oh, it just shifted to 60-40. And again, I'm not mad about it. That's perfect. 50-50, 50-50, 60-40. Very well balanced truck. And I believe I did lower the CG just a smidge. And so I did get some new batteries too. The battery that I ordered, I'm going to take the body off. We're done with the scales. So now we'll just look at the truck and how good the truck is. So the truck is very well laid out now. And I truthfully like the cleanliness of this portal trans and how small and compact it is, and you know, a couple good things happened out of this for sure. Definitely, I would say overall this is an upgrade. I don't think losing the overdrive has any negative effect. I'll know in the field soon. We're running a 1500 3SZ battery that I picked up. I picked up a 2 pair of those. Fits really nice, but the portal trans really cleaned up how it looks underneath the truck, and now my motor, if you could see, has clearance where before it would kind of stick down below the lower links, and now it doesn't, and I really like that. So clean overall, really clean. I haven't powered this up, but seems smooth. I don't know. I got this on Big Blue. Okay, I'll put some power to it. Here, how about that? That makes me hands-free. I'll put some power to it, and we'll see if it's smooth. Worried about you could bottom out those screws, and I'm assuming the gears on the inside of the transmission, if they were too long. I believe I got the right length where I won't be running into that issue. Let's see, turn them on. Okay. I don't know why I'm not able to turn the lights off right now. Huh. I gotta figure that out. I thought I had the lights to something. Seems really smooth to me. Let's see, cruise. Yeah, cruise is working, everything's working, so I didn't hurt anything. Here's that low end. It's a little bindy. I think it'll break in. Oh, I'm losing the truck off the bench. I need more space, guys. Still feels punchy. I think, truthfully, I just think that's a 2300 Pro thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that punchiness. It is what it is. It's just a spicy truck. It's got a lot of power with the 3S and that 2300 Pro, and I'm okay with it. So we're at 20% overdrive now. I don't know the final gear ratio for the front or the rear, like final drive. I could do the math. If I had to say where it's around, I bet it's around 55-1 in the front, 60-1 in the front, 55-1 in the rear. It's something like that. It's somewhere around there. I mean, I could pause the video right now and I could do some math, because I know it's a 14-tooth pinion. I forgot what the transmission has for the spur gear, so I could look up that information right now. And I know I have a 24T 8T, 24T in the front, and I forgot what the portal teeth are on the portal boxes, but essentially we could do the math. The rear is 8T, 30T, and again, I don't know what the portal boxes are. So you know what? Let me try and do some rough math, and I think I can give you a final drive ratio of the front and the rear. If my math isn't working right now, I apologize, and I'll just come back to you with inconclusive. I don't know. You know, Canyon does this stuff like within seconds, where he just calculates it within seconds. I'm not that smart, so I forgot what you have to do. I've watched plenty of videos on it. Let me get some pen and paper, and I'll do some math so that way I can get you a somewhat accurate final drive ratio. But overall, the balance has not changed. The weight bias is perfect. And I think that the 20% overdrive is going to be just right. We have options. If it's not, I'm going to keep this transmission. I like this transmission. It's lighter weight and it's more compact, and it made the motor more centered. Truthfully, all around better. Okay? If I need some underdrive, I can get $15-16 and I can get the Meus underdrive gears, which I think would be the 8T 33T gear set. I could do that option, which is probably the smartest option. I could put overdrive portal gears in the portal boxes in the front. I can do that. Those are ways we can play with overdrive, underdrive stuff. And again, I'm going to run the truck as is with 20% overdrive with the gears that I put in the front axle. So with that being said, it may be the Goldilocks 20% is just perfect. If that's the case, Big Blue is yet again done. Are you really ever done? Probably not. I mean, I've already thought about 3D printing the rock sliders and the truck bed and PETG carbon fiber. You know, I've thought about different things I could do just to make it a nicer truck. Overall, I absolutely love the KKV1 and how Big Blue has come together. If you guys are new to watching this channel, okay, the truck chassis that you see in front of you is my chassis. Go on KitCrawler's Etsy and you can get yourself a KKV1 kit. The only thing it won't come with is those are Rock Pirate bumpers, front and rear. I have my own 3D printed bumpers that'll come with the kit. This upgraded aluminum battery micro winch mount bracket does not come in the kit. That was a separate item that I got made, and I already sold out of those. I'm trying to sell the last 5 kits of the KKV1. This thing's doing a little ghost thing on me right now. That was weird. I think the throttle was slightly stuck on. That was really weird. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sell the KKV1 kits. They're amazing, awesome kits. But once I sell out of the KKV1, I'm going to start creating the second generation, the KKV2. All it stands for is KitCrawlers V1, version 1, KitCrawlers version 2, KKV1, KKV2. Have I started the KKV2 yet? No, I haven't. It's basically going to be the same chassis rails, but it's going to include this aluminum bracket up front, I need to develop my own stainless steel bumpers front and rear. I got to figure out, I have a design and I need to do bends through send cut send where it will fit to the outside of the chassis rails. All the 3D printed parts on the KKV1 are out of PLA, and mine are holding up just fine. This truck has taken some serious falls and nothing has broke. Nothing. The only thing that broke on the front Rock Pirates bumper was the winch fair lead, because it hit a rock really hard. It's just a little winch fair lead. You don't even need to technically have that on there, but the crucial components like the sliders and the truck bed have not broke. But the second generation I do want to print out of PETG carbon fiber. Okay. And I believe the transmission skid would be included, where I would make it where this portal transmission would have mounting holes already in the blank skid. You can always drill holes and mount whatever you want on a blank skid. I believe that would come with the kit as well. So yeah, guys, go, please buy a KKV1 right now. They're on sale for Thanksgiving for the rest of the month, half off. You're talking 60 something bucks, and you get chassis rails and all the 3D printed goodies. Truthfully, it would help out the channel. It would help out with my Etsy and getting, you know, a second generation produced, which would it's just going to be a little bit better. But, you know, go and get yourself the original. Again, you might be looking at this thing going, man, that's a sweet looking chassis. And it's well thought out. It's balanced. You can see the scales don't lie. The way I have this truck, if you were to mimic it, where you buy all the parts that I have on it, and you built yourself a truck just like it, you're going to be pretty much 50-50 left to right. Cross weight, you could definitely get there, or at least be really close, and chances are you're going to be around the 60-40 weight biased if you do what I've done on this truck. So yeah, I absolutely love this thing. I don't even think for myself, this is my class 2 comp crawler, and I don't even think for myself when I develop the KKV2, because it's going to happen, I'm probably not even going to build myself a KKV2 truck. I'm probably just going to rock the OG KKV1. So that in itself is the cool factor of the original, is, you know, you could be one of the original guys. With that said, let me pause the video and get some final drive calculations going on. I also got to figure out why my rock lights aren't working to the switch that I have them dialed onto. That's a little weird. So once I do that, I'm gonna get back on the camera. Okay, bear with me. Here's my simple math. Pardon my writing. I'm not a chick. I don't write perfect. So what I found out is it's pretty simple to find out your final drive ratio, which what I found out is why it's a little spicy, but I'm just going to send it. It's just going to be what it is, and that's that. Basically, you need to find out some things. So for my front axle, it's an 8T24T, right, for the gears in the front diff. Okay, the portal gears front and rear with these Meus axles is a 1223 tooth. Okay, the rear axle for the diff is an 8 tooth 30 tooth gear set. The Portal transmission has a 36 tooth spur gear, okay? And it even told you that the gear ratio for a 14 tooth pinion would be 7.7, and I confirmed that that would be the case, because when you do the spur divided by the pinion times the gear ratio, or what was that? It was, oh shoot, it said 3-to-1 is the gear ratio. So when you do 36, divide that by the 14, and then times that by 3, you get 7.71, which is, it basically told you 7.7 is the gear ratio for a 14 tooth pinion. And then from there, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong, the front final drive ratio is, I did 7.7 times 24 divided by 8, which is your diff gears, and that gets you 23.1, and then do 23.1 times 23 divided by 12, which gets you at 44.3 to 1 gear ratio. So that's your final drive ratio, what's in the front axle. The rear axle, the final drive ratio is 55.4 to 1. Do I think that the 13 tooth would have been better? Maybe, but it wasn't feeling smooth at all. I don't know why. It just wasn't meshing very well. An 11 tooth or a 12 tooth would have probably been much better, because then it would have been super low gear. It would have been just really good gear reduction. But this is where we're at. I like where the truck is. I don't want to mess with it. I definitely can say I don't think it's nearly as spicy as the Meus transmission was. And, you know, I'm a Meus fan all day. But props to this CobraCrawler off-brand Deluxe, giving you all this information for the transmission. Truthfully, props to them, because Meus doesn't tell you that it's a 32 pitch gears in there. It doesn't tell you what the spur gear is. It doesn't tell you anything. I've looked on the website. I can't find that information. So unless you take it apart, you're kind of in the dark. All they tell you is the underdrive percentage, which is 18%. They don't really tell you how you got there. So yeah, I think this is going to wrap up the video. There's Big Blue. And what I need to do is, I've got some trucks to test, and I've been saying this for months. I need to get this thing back out on the rocks. Give it a go. See if I like what has changed. I'm sure I'm going to. And then I need to test the rock buggy out 100%. Got to get that thing going. Still need my wife to get out and test her Meus Gold Rush build that I did for her. And then kind of on the micros. I don't know, the whole micro thing. I think it's fun for competitions. Like, we both have a micro truck. There was one we missed, of course, this weekend in Baldwin Park because we had to work some overtime. Gotta pay the bills, guys, so that's unfortunate. But as for building micros, they're truthfully just not fun to work with. I like working with a 1/10 scale build. Here's my hand. It just goes so much better. Like, I don't have massive hands, but I don't have small hands, and just working in this scale is just a lot easier. If you haven't ever done a micro build, I challenge you, go set yourself up to build a micro, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm one and done. That's it. So I've built 2, and I'm over it. So 1/10 all day. And truthfully, you could build a 1/10 scale truck for the price of, you know, a micro. If you try and get good parts for a micro and a 1/10 build, you're really going to be around the same ballpark. Man, this truck's so cool. This is such a good truck. Truthfully, look at the Meus axles. How wide they really got some turning angle to them. So there you have it, guys. Had to do a little change to Big Blue. I'm sure it's not the last one. I'm sure I'll be tweaking on this thing for years. And that's fine, you know. There you have it. Another video down. Truthfully, hope you guys enjoyed. I actually had fun doing this tranny swap. And it really simplified the rig. Truthfully, as clean as the Meus LCG is, I would 100% say, if you can afford supporting DLUX Fab, go get one of their transmissions. And if you can't, the CobraCrawler Portal Trans, absolute steel and high craftsmanship. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful night, a wonderful morning to you, whatever it is to you. I'll catch you in the next video. And truthfully, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Yeah. See you guys soon. Peace out, y'all.